All right, welcome. This is DB talking now, DB talking birds, DB talking Philadelphia Eagles. Welcome, guys. Sorry about that. Happy Thursday, everyone. So we have quite a few things that we need to get into. I want to go ahead and I want to talk about Russell Wilson possibly being on the move, and there's a few things regarding that. I want to talk about wide receiver Kendarious Toney, and then also wide receiver Rashad Bateman. And the possibility of being able to get those guys at pick 37. Now, obviously, there is a possibility that both of those guys could go in the later first round, but there's more than likely a possibility that they could go, early second round. So one of them, or both of them could possibly be there at pick 37. So let's go ahead and jump off the bat with the fact that Russell Wilson, there are some things that are heating up. I still don't think he's going to get traded, but I mean, let's call a speed, right? There were reports that Russell Wilson walked out of the front office when he made some suggestions on how the offense could be better, and apparently he did not like that, and so he did walk out. There's reports coming out saying that, he would be interested in playing for the Cowboys. He would be interested in playing for the Chicago Bears. He would be interested in playing for this New Orleans Saints. These are all rumors and obviously reports. My position stands. I don't think Russ gets traded, but it is definitely one of those things where it is picking up steam. So it is something to look out for. Do I think the Eagles would be in play? No, because nobody wants to come to play for our team right now. So there's that. That's numero uno. That's numero uno. So there you go on that. I want to talk about Kendarious Toney a little bit. Wide receiver Kendarious Toney out of the University of Florida. He's a Florida Gator. And this guy is absolutely incredible. He's absolutely incredible. He's about 6 foot, 5'11", 193, but he can run all the routes. He can high point the ball really well. Excuse me. And just does a phenomenal job after the catch, getting open. Like I said, there's no reason why this guy should fall out of the first round. The only reason would be that there's wide receivers in front of him, and there are positions of need. There are other positions of need in front of him, so he could be in play at pick 37. Now, granted, I understand everybody wants Devontae Smith. They want a Jamar Chase at pick 6. But my point is this. I think that the Eagles are not going to go wide receiver at pick 6. And we've talked about this before. I've touched on this in previous streams. I think Howie Roseman will get it into his head. Well, no, we picked a wide receiver last year. We picked 3 wide receivers last year. And yeah, so and if somebody says, well, we're excited about the progression of Jalen Reagor, if we're excited about the progression of John Hightower or Quez Watkins, even if it has nothing to do about Jamar Chase. So let's put this scenario in our heads for a second. Let's say Howie Roseman comes to Nick Sirianni and says, how do you feel about the progression of, how do you feel about Jalen Reagor? How do you feel about Quez Watkins? How do you feel about John Hightower? Nick Sirianni will probably say, well, I feel good about him. I think we got to get him a bit more reps, and we can definitely create more opportunities for those guys. Howie Roseman will probably take that and run with it and get it into his head and be like, okay, well, then we don't have to draft a Devontae Smith or a Jamar Chase. Because that's just the way that Howie Roseman thinks. King, welcome, my man. Happy Thursday, man. King says these dumbass Howie Roseman just gave an extension for money to Derek Barnett. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't that fool injured most of the season? Derek Barnett was not injured most of the season. He was injured for a few games. Derek Barnett didn't have a bad season, honestly. He didn't have a bad season. He was. It's hard to say what his role was, because honestly, towards the end of the season, I think I stopped paying attention to what the role on the defense was, and more so hoping that Carson could turn it around. And then obviously towards the end, it was all about Jalen Hurts. So, but I'm pretty sure everybody on that fucking line was a rotational guy. There was no starting stud, and I think that became a problem, and it took away from the progression of some of these guys. But he did pick up 6.5 sacks, and like I talked about the other day, that's Brandon Graham progression early in his career, or Brandon Graham production, and so look. He just got a contract. Hold on a second. I did not see that, King. Let me see. Let me. If he just got a contract, that's not bad. It's not. It's actually not. That's not a bad move. I'll tell you why. He was going to be playing under his 5th-year option, and his 5th-year option was worth $10 million. So if they just gave him a contract extension, that's good. That's really good. Yeah, I'm not seeing that anywhere. King. Where did you see that? Let me know. Get back to me on that. But like I said, Howie Roseman could get it into his head that he doesn't need to take a wide receiver, and so that's why I want to go to. That's why I want to go to the fact that wide receiver might not be addressed until the 2nd round, and that's the hope. And hopefully, it's not another JJ Arcega-Whiteside. So that's why I want to talk about Florida Gator wide receiver Kendarious Toney, and then I also want to talk about wide receiver Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman, however, is ranked above Kendarious Toney and probably fits 37 a bit better, whereas Kendarious Toney is probably going to be in the 50-51 range. We might be able to get him somewhere around that area, but I wouldn't. King says no. It's as soon. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. It's something that might. Yeah, no, and so it's not official yet. So it's something that could happen, might happen, and should happen. But if they're looking to, but if they straight up cut him right now, they will free up $10 million on the books. So, it's definitely one of those things to follow for sure. It's definitely one of those things to follow for sure. So like Rashad Bateman, wide receiver Rashad Bateman is definitely a wide receiver to look at. I personally have been looking at him a ton over the last week or so. This dude is a freaking stud. I mean, seriously, if it weren't for Devontae Smith and if it weren't for Jamar Chase, I pretty sure this guy would go in the 1st round or probably be one of the top 3. I might even rank him over Jalen Waddle at this point. I mean, King, if you want to go ahead and check out Rashad Bateman, or if you already know about him, that's fucking great. But I have a good feeling that this could be Rashad Bateman could be one of the wide receivers out of the draft that just produces a bit better than some of the other ones that you would expect to. He can run all the routes. He's got great RAC and YAC ability, so run after the catch and yards after the catch ability. Great at high point to the ball, is just a freaking beast. I mean, just an absolute beast. Can elude guys really, really well after the catch. Can shrug off guys. He's powerful for his size. He's about 6'2", 209. That's a little bit generous rated by as listed by ESPN. He's probably about 6'1", but or 6 foot, but he doesn't look that at all. He looks like a bigger version of Jalen Reagor, and that's saying quite a lot. Just comparatively to the Jalen Reagor that we saw coming out of college is what I mean. The other thing I wanted to talk about too is a little bit of bright spots. Let's talk a little bit about a bright spot, because we've had so many negative things going on with its organization, and we're gonna have plenty of time for that later, and because it's an ever evolving cloud of negativity revolving this organization, because the Sonic, the boss at the end of all Sonic levels is still in the building, and by that person I mean, Mr. HR himself, Howie Roseman, the fucking worst person inside of the building, who just happens to steal all of Jeffrey Lurie's tasty cake. So it's like, hey, I'm gonna give you your tasty cakes back if you just let me keep my job. And so he does it one by one by one by one, one by one by one. And it's a 365-day thing. So that's how he's still keeping his job, King, just in case you're wondering. I got it in a memo just last week. It's a tasty it's the tasty cake. It's tasty cake compromise is what they're calling it. The tasty cake compromise. And I don't know if you've ever had tasty cakes out of Philadelphia, but they're fucking prime. I'm not even kidding. So what was I talking about? Anyway, Rashad Bateman. Yeah, so Rashad Bateman is absolutely fucking phenomenal. And so with that said, and basically where I'm going with that, and the reason why I really want to focus on us taking a wide receiver in the second round is because I honestly think they're going to go quarterback. Here's what we know about Howie Roseman. He does not address defense in the first round. He doesn't do it. He only did it a couple times and he failed epically. Brandon Graham is not the player that he should have been. And Marcus Smith is certainly not the player he should have been. He's not even in the league anymore. Who else? What's another first round defender that, like I said, give me Justin Fields. I don't want Justin Fields. I don't think it's going to be I don't mind Justin Fields, but I don't think it's going to be Justin Fields. Here's the thing. Report that they're interested in Justin Fields, Trey Lance, and Zach Wilson. I think they're going to make the move for Zach Wilson. I think that they liked Zach Wilson. Look, there was a report that came out 2 weeks ago, and the report was this. There is one team in the NFL, there's one team as of right now in the NFL that has Zach Wilson rated over Trevor Lawrence on their draft board. Now, whether that was bullshit, whether it was a Fugazi or a Fugazi or wherever the fuck you want to pronounce it, tomato, potato, whatever, it could have been the Philadelphia Eagles. Trying to hype up their fans if they went ahead and got Zach Wilson. Here's the thing about Zach Wilson, though. They have to be able to move up above the Falcons, and they have to get to either Miami or they have to get to the Jets, because it depends on what the Jets want to do. But here's the thing. These GMs talk when it comes to draft day, and they let each other know who they're taking. They do. It's just, they're never going to tell you that, but they do. Because that's the way they do business. Those, they're corrupt as shit. But that's the way they do it. And so Howie Roseman, if they want Zach Wilson, they're going to have to trade up to 2 or 3, because I really think that Atlanta is going to take a quarterback. And I think they're going to want a Matt Ryan type. And I don't think Justin Fields is a Matt Ryan type. He's a bit more of a scrambler. Now obviously he's actually more of an improviser, but you get my drift on that one. So I think Zach Wilson fits better in Atlanta. So that's my point there. But let's go ahead and get back to what I was talking about, because I do remember what I was saying before I went on my tasty cake rant. And bright spots. So Alex Singleton, obviously one of the bright spots of this past year's defense, was on a podcast earlier. The name of the podcast is slipping my head, but they basically questioned him. They were like, so this year I have you take about reaching 133 tackles. Do you want to take the over or under on that? And Alex Singleton went ahead and said, I'll take the over. So Alex Singleton is shooting for the moon, and that's what I like to hear. That's the point of what I'm saying right now. Alex Singleton is all about progress and all about working hard to get to be a better player. And so I am excited about that. And I think that he can do it as long as he maintains that same work ethic that he maintained all of last season. So if we can see that from Alex Singleton, boom, I'm excited about that. I am excited about that. And look, that doesn't negate my thoughts on bringing competition in for Alex Singleton whatsoever. I think that we still need to do that. And the linebacker out of Indy who's going to be a free agent, I think that Anthony Walker, I think that he would bring great competition and probably take over the starting role, but and definitely solidify that position for the defense if we can get our hands on him. So I'm still hoping out for that, despite my thoughts on Alex Singleton. So, but that's neither here nor there. But Zach Wilson impresses me. And these two wide receivers really impress me. And so if we go quarterback at pick 6, then they need to get the guy playmakers right away. Just like we've always talked about, they needed to get the guy playmakers right away. And so we'll just have to hope that is what they do. There will be cornerbacks to be had in the 3rd round. There will be defensive linemen to be had. There will be offensive linemen to be had. There's Michael Panay out of Penn State who will be able to have in the 4th or 5th round, and he's really good. He's played offensive tackle before, but he's listed as a center and has done really well all throughout the line there at Penn State. And there's going to be guys, and we'll continue to talk about the prospects more in depth as we go along here. We've got quite a little bit of time. But I wanted to come on here. I wanted to talk about Russell Wilson a little bit. If he moves, I see Howie Roseman trying to get involved, but I don't see it happening. I see Howie Roseman trying to get involved because Howie Roseman has obsessions and late night wet dreams of Russell Wilson. And Kendarious Toney, I am excited about. I'm excited about him as a prospect. Rashad Bateman, I'm excited about him as a prospect, and I think that those would be 2 great guys to get with the 37th pick if they are still there. And one of the 2 of them are still going to be there. So that's the thing that I wanted to bring up. But this is DB Talking now, DB Talking Birds, DB Talking Philadelphia Eagles. I do have to get going, but I will be back on later. I promise you that. There will be more to talk about. So have a beautiful rest of your afternoon. Stay safe, stay healthy. Go Birds, baby.